Hello, hello. Here I am. Here we are for a nice bench session. Week 1. New start to hopefully building onto something even more. Alright, so let's see. Go ahead and pop up. We did what, sets of 4, so that means we should be on sets of 3. We might have to do more than that. Yeah, we'll wait to update. We'll wait to update the log because we'll be doing more than 290. 297, 302, maybe. That sounds a bit better. You're getting it in just a smidge early today. Cranky knee today. A little bit of the cranky knee. it's all rainy today. Making for a dreary day. For sure. What are we looking like here? I probably should just turn that up a smidge and make sure we are rotated. I think I'm just being a little bit more on the quiet side today, actually. I think that is all there is to it. Yeah. Just a wee bit on the quiet side today. Get some things done here because after the workout we had a big climb to get to. All right, 225. Take the workout log now. Because, yeah, like I said, the last time I ran the block, it was definitely a bit on the lighter side. And I think my range for today will probably be 7 to 302. But I don't know, maybe we could do a 310. That's quite the range there. 302 to 310 is probably more appropriate. For 3, we do a triple with this block. Be better last night. It was alright. It was okay. We're here though, right? We are somewhat here. No, I mean, it wasn't too bad actually. I woke up a few times, but for some reason I actually felt like I slept pretty. Must have had some quality sleep. Oops. So 302 to 310. We'll figure out the back offs here in a second. Just fill in some of these here while we are waiting for the next set. Okay, today is, what's our usual for today? And modified chin up. And then barbell try extension. I like how I capitalized some and then I just didn't on some. That will be what we're working with today. No modifications to the accessories. For this block, we'll rock a lot of the same. If anything, I'll be adding more. But we'll see. I have an hour and hour and 20-ish from this point. From this point on, we gotta crank this out. Honestly, feeling not too bad so far. Not too shabby. Just turned down. Oh, it is. I was like, why is my music not playing? It was just turned all the way down. All right, very good, very good. To just go up to 287. We'll take it slow. How about you, Nerody? Did you get a good night's sleep? I feel like I did, but I really shouldn't. I stayed up too late again. Yeah, sometimes it's about the quality and not always the duration. Although both is preferable, right? Both is preferable. Yo, what's up, Mike? How are we doing? Blood. Alright, let's see how this feels. You know, I might end up going 310. We'll have to see here. 310 for 3 to start us off. I mean, what? We ended up hitting 337 or 342 for 4? I'd have to double check, so. Means we gotta top that for the triples. We gotta start ambitious. We gotta start ambitious on the threes. I am ready for this block, man. Let's see what we can pull off here. Oh, the worst. Happy Monday, guys, by the way. Happy freaking Monday. Ugh. I wasn't too shabby. I don't know. I think we might do 310. Oh, you're on your Sunday. Hey, well deserved, right? Well deserved. Yep. I think we're gonna do it. Nice 310 for 3 to start us off. See if we can get pretty heavy here on week 4. Because what we could do. Let me see if I can make sense of this for the course of the block. 310 today. Next week, 320. Week 3, maybe 330. Week 4, we're feeling really good. Jump up another 10. I guess it depends if I hit 342 or 337 for 4. Because I'd like to try to top that, you know. Well, of course, top it because we're going down a rep. So 310 is good. I mean, it's a good start to the block, potentially. Let's see. Need to double check. I have it up. Well, I might have clipped it actually. Did I clip it? Let's see. Oh, here we go. I was like, wait, how do I find my clips? 337 for 4. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say, I didn't think it was 342, but if it would have been, then we would have maybe even considered having to go a little bit heavier. So yeah, 310, week 2, 320-ish, week 3, 332, and then hopefully feeling really good to make a 10-pound jump for week 4 for a 342 for 3. I feel like I've hit 342 for 3 before though. But once a week you ramp up the weight of a certain lift. exercise to reach a certain weight lift goal, yeah. Roughly, yeah. We'll talk about that here after this set. The overall layout. That is a good question. Oh, okay, yeah. That might have even been a little bit easy for week one. Yeah, so generally, as a power lifter, or for anybody for that matter, but I'm a bit more focused on the weight specifically, we should all be using progressive overload with our workouts, which just means in some capacity, you have to stress the body, stress the system a little bit more than what you did prior, right? So for me, I have a series of like 4 weeks of training, and then I have a light week. So for me, progressive overload, I do that with linear periodization. So that means from week to week, it gets harder until I cap out, at week 4, and then I have a light week, and then I, reset. So, for me, I do that by, I do the same rep scheme for that 4 weeks, but the intensity gets higher, or, that means the weight goes higher every week. But there's a lot of different ways you could do it, right? You could do, you could have a set weight where maybe week 1 you're only hitting it for 5 reps, week 2 you're hitting it for 6, week 3 you're hitting it for 7, right? There has to be some sort of, quite literally, progressive, overload. How are you stressing the body more during a training period, right? And some people, they can run it longer. I think for powerlifting blocks, it's generally 3 to 5 weeks. 3 is on the short side, but some people might only be able to handle that. I think I just fall somewhere in between. But of course, if you're just doing maybe, I'd say general fitness or even bodybuilding, they probably stretch it out longer, right? They're probably maybe going 7 to 8 weeks, maybe without a deload, a light week. So it really just kind of depends, right? And of course, keep in mind, right? The week 1 it's supposed to be light. You can't progressive overload your max, for example. I can't come in today and do 365 and then expect to do more next week. That's where we kind of get in the conversation of reps in reserve, I definitely have a few reps in reserve on week 1, and then every week I'm going a little bit closer, you know, to failure. Based on how your block goes, determines what weight you start at in the next block. Well, kind of, you know. I think for most people, we can estimate a 1 rep max based off of our rep work, right? Or we can kind of compare and contrast. Last block I hit sets of 4. I hit 337 for 4. So I would expect for sets of 3, if we're dropping the rep scheme down 1, I could probably do 5 to 10 pounds more than what I did, you know, with the sets of 4. Most likely, probably 5 pounds more. But I guess if, you know, you really are, you know, performance is increasing and you're getting stronger, then you might notice you could do 10 more. And I would expect the same for sets of 2, right? So if I hit 342 for 3 at the end of this block, then I would expect, you know, probably like a 347 or a 350, 352 I think is what it is in kilograms. Of course, that's if training is very predictable, right? It's not always predictable, and, you know, that's where things might get disappointing. In your next block, you'll start higher than 310. Oh, for sure, yeah. For sure. I need to figure out what my back offsets are. Let's see here. Wait for this to... Oh yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, I think, that most people don't ever even consider. Sets of 5. We're gonna put in 310. A lifter versus a yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. So let's see, we're gonna do a back off set 5 and then back off more. So that. Interesting. Okay. 245. $275, huh? Let's see. I won't need the green anymore. Yep, the old science of lifting. But, like, of course, you shouldn't necessarily, I guess, attach yourself to the previous. I shouldn't be doing that, but that's generally how I do it now. Really, it should be more so that I lift whatever weight I can on the day, and it's more so that I'm reaching like an RPE sort of cap, right? Or like reps in reserve. They're kind of interchangeable in a way, right? But I should treat it as if week 1, my top set, I have roughly maybe 3.5 reps in the tank. Then the following week is like, okay, roughly 2.5 reps in the tank. Week 3, 2 reps in the tank. Week 4, 1.5. That did not happen. We're having an actual educational conversations, and then here comes Slowpokes. Did you bother with any cardio? For sure. Very important. I definitely focus on it nowadays more. Than when I was young and stupid, right? I tried to incorporate some sort of, cardio. At least a few times a week. So you don't go to the point of muscle fatigue. Was that a follow-up to your, do you bother with any cardio, or a follow-up based on what I said? Making sure that I'm understanding correctly. So you don't go to the point. Well, I guess if by muscle fatigue you mean failure, then yeah. I mean, I mean, especially bench press. Like, I don't want to go to failure down here. That wouldn't be very good. Not on the main lifts. Unless I'm trying to go for a PR and it just so happens that I don't hit it, you're not really, I guess as a power lifter, you're not really trying to work into failure. Although I guess some people do. Guess that's where there's probably different schools of opinion, right? But on my end, like, the more that you're working to failure, the greater, like, maybe fatigue or performance dip you're gonna have. If you don't have the right circumstances of recovery being on point, yeah, you might start to see a performance dip more than anything. Versus almost trying to maintain somewhat of a steady level of performance that you're hoping is slowly trending upward. More peaks and less valleys is the goal there. Alright, so 245 and our back off weight. Well, yeah, like, the accessory work that I do, that's generally a lot less, like, fatiguing. I feel like that's what most people would say, whatever fatiguing means, I know there's some, I guess, nuance when we start talking about technical stuff. But yeah, accessory work is all good and fine. Generally, I don't follow the same structuring on accessory work as I would like the main lifts. Accessory work is always like maybe week 1 we're doing 2 reps in the tank, whereas on the bench press we might have had like 3, maybe closer to 4 reps in the tank. So you push that intensity a little bit harder early on and all the way through. So where you're doing it here at home or main, so you can reach your goals with home setup. I mean, I think I can still shoot for, a higher bench press with my setup here at home. The only caveat would be making sure I have a spotter on any super heavy days. If I felt like not confident about, really hitting a certain weight. I could get more accessory work in, of course, at an actual gym. But now that I have the machine, it really opened up a lot of stuff for sure. I feel like I could still get a pretty good workout here at home. But the goal for sure would eventually be to stack out the home gym, right? Add in some more stuff. Are you still doing competitions? It has been a long time since I have done a competition, actually. It's been a hot minute. Let's see. It had to have been either 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019 it had to have been, if I'm remembering correctly. That was a tough year. That was the year of a lot of the heavy sciences in the chiropractic program. And I was driving into school about 50-ish minutes. I did 3 competitions that year and I totally burnt myself out. I was trying to deal with a few injuries amongst all of that chaos. But it was also a year that I crossed off a lot of bucket list stuff, so I did somewhat, I wouldn't say a local meet, but it was close enough. Did a meet in Arkansas that I qualified for at Nationals, and then I did Nationals, which I then qualified for the Arnold, and then I competed at the Arnold. And yeah. After that, it was about finishing up school. And then, of course, after finishing up school, it was like, alright, now we gotta, do this whole business thing. And feel, comfortable again at some point. The itch is there, That has been on my mind as of recent. But, I don't know. To me, it's like, it doesn't necessarily matter. Because I'm still training, I haven't competed in 7 years, but I'm still just training as if I would, would be competing. Albeit maybe with a little less motivation at certain times, right? Having a competition will definitely drive motivation, but we're still doing it. Do lifters reach a point where they find their ultimate plateau for weight and then just maintain that level? Maybe. I mean, I would argue that's a very, very small percentage of people that might get to that point. That being said, they probably need to approach it differently, right? They need to change something up that they may feel stuck, right? But there's probably a solution that they maybe haven't tried. A lot of it is trial and error at the end of the day, too, A lot of it is trial and error. I feel like most of the time people become uninterested in powerlifting much sooner than they would ever like reach their ultimate plateau, to be honest. And it also depends, right? Because like I used to compete all the way down at 163 before I felt like, you know, there wasn't much to gain, like, competing at that weight class, you know? But that was also just comparing me to, like, my competition and realizing that the people that are really, really strong at 163 are, like, fucking 5'4", you know? So I'm like, what's a weight class that better kind of suits my, you know, overall build, I guess? So then we went on a bulk. Say what feels like injury is the max weight determiner for lifters. Well, I mean, you just gotta consider your body is like highly adaptive, right? You adapt to the stress that you put onto it. So, as long as your training is going correctly, then, you know, you should feel confident in, you know, being able to take heavy weights and you get stronger, essentially. The guy that tore his pec muscle lifting. Yeah, I would say a lot of like acute injuries are simply, I mean, it's a very simple way to put it, but doing too much too soon. And a lot of the times us knucklehead lifters don't do a great job of just also listening to our body, right? People fully recover from torn muscle? Oh, hell yeah. For sure. For sure. I would definitely say so. I would say that I have probably definitely torn something at some point. Actually. Let me see here. Try to multitask just ever so slightly. Yeah, I would say so for sure. I mean, I've helped people. I don't know about full tears, but definitely at least partial tears on my end personally. But yes, you can certainly recover from it. On my end specifically, I do think that I probably. Ooh, whoa. It was either pec or rotator cuff. It was during nationals. Yeah, during nationals on my last bench attempt. I can't remember if I failed it or if I ended up still getting it. But basically, it was on my third attempt on bench press. And I just remember, holy shit, I have to go out there and deadlift like 600 pounds. And it literally felt like my whole arm was just hanging there. Like, it was just hanging there. But I did it. It's pretty amazing what you can do, you know, with some adrenaline. Yeah, I do remember that. I don't think I'll ever forget that because it was actually a very impressive pull for where I was at. Like to be able to pull that pull off was crazy. But it's actually what I had to pull it in order to qualify for the Arnold. Yep. To hit that minimum total, or I guess it was Wilks coefficient in order to qualify. But afterwards, it was a full-on. Like I had to do very, very low weight on bench press, like virtually like nothing. At first, it was even partial rep, so I wasn't even going all the way down. It was probably half reps with like maybe 25s on each side, so like 95 pounds, maybe even less. I'm trying to remember exactly at the very start. Just worked my way back up. Now I can't confirm or deny if it was a partial or a full tear. But yeah, there's been plenty of people that have come back from stuff like that. And it depends, I think, too, right? Like, for example, if we're talking about, like, ACL tears for an athlete, you know, somebody who's playing certain sports, it might be pretty tough for them to get back to the same level of play. So I think that some context is there, right? But, like, in terms of lifters, I think lifters can get back to back to the tendon. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would say I would be very hard pressed to say it's. I mean, I would hate to ever say like never with like human sciences, but it's probably hardly ever a tear into the muscle belly, and so it's always it's pretty much always the tendon. All right, let's see. Pull up, we'll do. You know what? I put in the chest press machine first. That way I don't have to keep changing the angle, because I don't want to pull up and then that and then come back here. If I do that first, then I can do the pull up and then the barbell tricep extension. Let me rotate this over. That makes more sense. And then this over. Those are some good questions today. And also keep in mind, weightlifting is generally pretty safe. If you compare it to like other sports and like the hour of participation, weightlifting is like a very. The prevalence of weightlifting injuries is definitely much smaller than like participating in other sports. No pec pop required. We cut some zero today. Should we be worried? We should probably be worried that he stayed up too late playing Overwatch. He was up too late playing Overwatch. Would you bother with bulking and cutting? Well, it depends, you know, as a power lifter, right? It really just depends, right? Because there are weight classes and everything, right? So it's a matter of you having to, I guess, work towards whatever that may be, right? For me nowadays, I would probably compete in the, well, probably in the 205, right? Just because if I were to get back into competing, it wouldn't be to be like a super, super high level competition. Because otherwise I would probably, I could either make my way down a bit and then be able to cut down to 183, or I would sit higher than the weight class so that I could drop down a few pounds. Yeah, I mean, it really just depends, you know? But for me, it's been a lot of bulking, right? But I mean, you know, yeah, when I was competing, like I said, I would drop down to the 163 weight class. So that means I would hang out around 170-ish. And the last competition that I did, it was actually a pretty tough cut that I knew, like, my body weight was too heavy to really be cutting down that much. That's when I decided, you know, okay, first off, all the people that are super competitive at 163 are like 5'4". Like, I just need to, you know, work my way up. So. But, you know, people aren't even really competing. Their goal is probably to you know, lift as much weight as possible. So they might be focused more on the, I guess, the bulky side of things. But again, that's powerlifter, right? If you're like a bodybuilder guy, you're probably doing a combination of bulking and then cutting, right? Yeah. But nowadays, you know, the bulk is over, right? I am working on just kind of maintaining where I'm at right now, but the goal is just to get more leaner, you know, build more muscle, fill out the old like 200-ish body weight. If I can get to be where I'm a lean 200-ish at 5'8", I'd be pretty happy with that. That's no joke. At least, like, from a, you know, a natty standpoint. If I can get to be around 200, 205, and I am, you know, have a pretty, you know, lean body mass, yeah. Where you at right now? Yeah, I mean, I sit generally 202, 203. The problem is that obviously I'm not very lean right now, by any means. You know, we don't have no six-pack or anything like that. Nothing like that going on. But I also bulk a little bit dirtier than like, you know, I guess most people. Well, I feel like that's what most people would say, right? But I mean, we're still cutting would be like a reduction, right? I guess that's how I process it, you know. Whether it's you're burning more calories or attempting to burn more calories, or if you're reducing the calories. Whereas like I'm just in a maintenance kind of phase where we can maintain body weight, build muscle, you know. I gotta sneeze. You're wanting your abs to show you need to lower your body fat, right? Yeah. Very true, very true. If I wanted to take it to, you know, I guess a lean and like 6-pack body, then yes, I would cut down. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm thinking a little bit like of a longer game. I got the body weight up, and you know, of course, some of it was fat, of course, but I'm gonna hang out here, and of course, to try to build muscle and lean up just at this body weight. Versus like doing a yo-yo of like bulk and then cut and then bulk and then cut. I don't necessarily need to be lean immediately, right? And it'll take some time for sure. Expectation is huge. We're playing the long game here. That's why I've been adding in more accessory work too, though. We're gonna work on build some muscle. It's warm down here today. Right around the corner. That's crazy. I have no plans of that. We're gonna be the beach to whale. The other thing to consider too, right, is like if your sleep is trash and your cortisol is also probably, you know, higher, which then, you know, maybe that is gonna affect, well, a lot of different things, right? Testosterone, all that jazz, so maybe, I don't know if I could say that for certain. I would almost think maybe metabolic rate, but I can't say that for certain. If I take any vitamins, no. No vitamins. You know, most people aren't deficient, you know, like they think they might be, right? They're just peeing that out, you know. As long as you're having like a fairly decent diet, Not now. Some people might have some vitamin deficiencies. Don't get me wrong, but it's the people that are really kind of obsessed with health that think they need a vitamin. They probably don't, because they're probably checking off all the boxes they need to, unless they have a condition or something. Now, I went through that phase a long time ago. Might not what people. That might not be what people want to hear, but that's just how it is. Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah. I mean, I feel like vitamin D is one of those that's maybe a little bit easier to be deficient in, right? To some extent. I probably was the same myself too, you know. Especially like during COVID and where I was just in Cairo school where, you know, maybe I was inside more than I was outside. D is probably the most common deficiency. Yeah, especially with yeah. I think COVID was a proponent for sure. But yeah, if you are deficient, yeah, I would say, yeah, it probably would, you know, definitely help. But I guess in terms of the water-soluble vitamins, yeah, most people probably aren't deficient in those. Whereas like the fat soluble, you know, the vitamin D, yeah, that one's probably pretty. That one's definitely a lot more common, I would say. Oh yeah, give you energy, mood. Definitely, definitely. Where are we at on time? 11 or 12, 14. Okay, not bad, not bad. The water soluble ones, you're just pissing out, you know. Your vitamin B or vitamin C. Most people are not deficient in those. And nowadays, right? You don't have hundreds and thousands of people running around with scurvy nowadays, right? My client is at 1, so 44 minutes. But really, we only have about, 2 more sets. I might do a few sets of some dumbbell lateral raises just because we're pretty good on time, actually. I just try to finish to give myself 15 minutes to, I guess, get ready to leave the house, and then, 15 minutes to get there. Guys, I'm sad. I think we lost. Let me see. We're back down to the 299, I think. We lost one. Sag. Yep. We were at the big 3. That's how it is, though, honestly. Gotta do the purging every once in a while. And sometimes people will follow because of a new game and then they stop playing it or I stop playing it. Big thing about the gotchas, though, like, they are really nice, The launch, the gotcha launches are the days that, outside of the workout week, that I actually, get some follows going or get some new people hanging out in here. The thing about gotcha gamers, they're always willing to play more, right? It's like your easy ticket into variety gaming in a way. Because when I play like single player games, those aren't really like opportunities for me to get new people in or following. It's more so the live service games, or like I said, the gotchas are super nice. I think the worst is when a streamer gets pigeonholed in one game for the rest of their career but makes them money. Yeah, definitely. That's what I'm saying too. Like, it's just so nice, right? I don't have to like. It would be so much different if I was hopping around between MMOs. Because if you're an MMO player and you're tuning in and watching, like you're playing, for example, Final Fantasy 14, you're tuning in and watching 14 players, you might not really be willing to watch, I guess, somebody pivot from 14 to a different MMO.
Because most people, if they play MMOs, they're only playing one at a time, and that's their interest, right? Whereas, like, gacha games, like I said, you can, like, gacha game players, they generally play more than one, or they'll at least pop in and, like, you know, see what a new one is about. So, it's just like, yeah, it's just so, I think it's super nice. You get people popping in, hanging out. For the new gacha releases. And then you just automatically like a variety guy. Easy. Of course, the workout, the fitness and health is good too, though. Because, that just means you guys pop in and I guess like the streamer for who they are. That it doesn't matter what game they play. If that person is also into games in the slightest, right? Yeah, the fitness and health followers that pop in during my game streams too, you guys are gonna carry me to the promised land, man. You guys help out a ton. Or like stick and you can hop around or whatever, true. And I guess kind of the reality of things too is there's probably a good amount of gacha players that were once MMO players that just have realized that there's nothing, you know, it's just kind of dead right now. Unless you really like World of Warcraft after 20 years. Because for me, that was the case. You know, I kind of abandoned MMOs for gachas because there's just no good new MMOs. Just need you to get to the sponsorship level of streaming. Sheesh. I hope so. I hope so. That's the thing too. I mean, that's like so far down, but like those gacha games, man, those companies will pay a lot for sponsorship streams. They do be paying people a lot. Or for example, if you get big enough, right, in your fitness and health, like imagine just getting like a freaking sick home gym set up at a huge discount or like even free. That would be crazy. Like I bet like, you know, I bet people like Bajira, like I bet that was sponsored. Like he probably didn't have to pay for like any of that equipment because his home gym is super nice. I mean, I don't want to say for for certain, but I would imagine, he definitely got himself in on a nice deal at the very least. There's a good chance, yeah. I think that's some supplement sponsorships. Which, I wonder how much that gets him. I think I've tried to use this code before, but I didn't really like the pre-workout that I got, actually. Yeah, Bajir, 615k followers, crazy. I feel like he has a rogue sponsor, but yeah, like I said, I don't want to misspeak by any means. Actually, when's the last time that he's done a workout stream? But Jiro is one of the people that I guess inspired me to start doing the fitness and health streaming. I think he's been doing a lot of gaming, maybe. Either that or he doesn't upload his VODs from his workout streams because he might be playing like actual music. That could be potentially it. Oh man, we're at 12:28. Figure out what your shtick is. I can't tell if you're just wanting to keep saying shtick or what. Alright guys, we're gonna have to get wrapped up. Alright. I am pretty much all cleaned up. Just grab the thing that draws viewers in and keeps them, yeah. Honestly, I need to get around to posting maybe on various things, but yeah. I think we're doing pretty good so far, but growth is of course super important, but I gotta be appreciative of where I'm at now. Alright guys, well, good talk, but unfortunately I do have to get things wrapped up because we are really nearing our safe spot in terms of time to get to the next thing. So yeah, as always, thanks for popping in, hanging out for the workout stream. If you aren't already following, smash that follow button. All things fitness, health, powerlifting, pain, injury, rehab, since I am like a sports chiropractor, and then some occasional game streams. Thanks for popping in, hanging out again. Thanks for the support and the chatting, as always. Super duper appreciate it. Pretty good workout, pretty good start to the block today, so that's super huge. Next workout stream, Thursday afternoon, roughly the same time. Maybe a game stream later today, we'll have to see. Yeah. Again, thanks, and enjoy the rest of your Monday. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.